Chloe, what do you got for us next?
Thanks, Fahid. Our next guest is Notre Dame's Vice President for University Enterprises and Events, Micki Kidder. Micki, welcome to Notre Dame Day. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Chloe. It's great to see you.
Great to see you too, my dear. You've had an exceptionally busy year between adapting the manner in which campus dining is undertaken to the renovation of Roars in Morrisin and so much else in between. So tell us what's been happening and what's new in your world.
Yes, it's been quite a year. We started this year, as you know, we had intentions to go to Ireland to kick off this year in really wonderful fashion. And unfortunately, those plans got disrupted. But we've had, in many ways, a difficult year and in many ways, a great blessing. We did open Roars. So for those of you who haven't been back to campus, I would invite you to please join us in the coming months and over the next year in the newly renovated Roars. Obviously had to turn much of our attention to the students. And in many ways, that has been a blessing. Revamping dining protocol, helping with quarantine and isolation meals during COVID, a lot of our laundry service, which I have the great privilege of working with, helping to serve the students in the Morrison and Q&I, and in many ways, creating some really lasting memories and some special events on campus for our students, and in serving the men of Holy Cross, which is obviously also a very important constituent that my team has the privilege of serving.
It's fantastic, Micki. Talk to us about the two large student lodges that were installed at the North and South Quads during the winter months and the need for safe student gathering spots in these times.
Yes, this has been one of the more exciting projects that we've had the privilege of working on. With COVID and with the pandemic, we had the opportunity and really the need to de-densify a lot of our spaces. In the fall, our team had the privilege of working on things like Library Lawn and South Lawn and creating some really exciting outdoor lounge spaces. But when the winter months came upon South Bend, in February in particular, we knew that we had the need to help continue to de-densify the indoor spaces in campus like the Duncan Student Center in La Fortune. But our students needed a place to gather, and they needed a place to gather safely. And so we were able to install the quad lodges that you just showed the pictures of on both South Quad and North Quad, create safe spaces that were inviting, they were lit up, they had some fun Adirondack chairs and furniture. Matt Levy at Irish Woodworks, who I know is a guest on Notre Dame Day this year, worked with us to create some of the incredible furniture. And we created some exciting spaces for our students to be in community, but be in community in a safe and de-densified and physically distanced manner.
Indeed, I love what you've done. The place looks fantastic. If we can switch the subject real quick, the university recently announced that Billy Joel, the concert, the wonderful Billy Joel concert, has been rescheduled for next year, 2022. So what are the plans for future concerts at the Notre Dame Stadium?
Yes, so we are saddened that we had to postpone the Billy Joel concert. That was announced a couple of weeks ago that that will be rescheduled for June of 2022. So I would definitely encourage anyone who wants to come and see the Piano Man in Notre Dame Stadium, June of 2022. It will be a really incredible weekend, that last weekend in June. Last Friday, we did unfortunately announce that we also had to cancel the George Strait, Stapleton, concerts that we were supposed to have in August of this year. But never fail, we have already quite the docket for next spring and summer. We've got some May events that we'll be announcing for Notre Dame Stadium coming up here. We'll have Billy Joel in June, and then another event that we will be announcing for August of 2022. So rest assured, we have lots of exciting events teed up in the iconic Notre Dame Stadium, and really look forward to welcoming some truly iconic and worldwide names to this campus over the next couple of years.
No, I'm delighted to hear it. So some people might not realise that you have a cemetery here on campus, Cedar Grove Cemetery. What qualifications does one need to be buried at the University of Notre Dame? As odd a question as that is to ask.
No, listen, I'm grateful that you've asked. And in my portfolio of the team that I have the distinct privilege of working with, we go from everything from the bookstore and licensing to major events to the Cedar Grove Cemetery. And it is a dear ministry that we're able to serve. and one that I think many people may not be aware of. And so in speaking with Jim ahead of time for Notre Dame Day, I wanted the opportunity to highlight that certainly staff and faculty identify Cedar Grove as their final resting place, but we wanted to make sure that alums know that this can be their final resting place as well. And so we feel that it's a dear privilege that we have to welcome alumni here who have the intent and preference to be buried here, both in ground as well as cremation. And again, it's a topic that may not always be top of mind for everyone. It may seem a little odd for me to highlight that as we just spoke about concerts and student activities, programming, sure. But we feel very, very sincere about this ministry that we provide, and do want to make sure that we have the opportunity to highlight that it is an opportunity for alumni. So any alums who have an interest in having Notre Dame be their final resting place, please visit cedargrove.nd.edu, or if you go to nd.edu and can search for Cedar Grove Cemetery, there's an inquiry form, and we would be privileged and honored to walk with you and your families on this journey, again, in making sure that Notre Dame is your forever home, and one that will be here forever, and in a way that dearly loves and can serve that ministry for you and your family.
Well said, Micki. Absolutely beautiful. And on a personal note, myself and Vahid are personally spearheading the campaign to get Notre Dame Day back to Ireland, or to get Notre Dame game to Ireland, indeed. Thank you so much for joining us on Notre Dame Day, Micki.